Hello, friend. It's Monster Forge again, and I have some more really inexpensive figures I picked up today. Uh, I'll just go ahead and say it, they're cheap. Um, these are 5 point of articulation figures, which, if you're not familiar with that concept, vintage Star Wars figures, like, this thing's just not wanting to focus at all. Like Han Solo in his Hoth outfit here. This was the standard toy for most of my childhood, was 5 points of articulation. You had one at the neck, two at one shoulder, three at another shoulder, four at one hip, and five at the other. So that's, people will refer to that as 5 POA, or 5 points of articulation. Just very simple action figure style. Kenner really did kind of revolutionize the size and form of toys for a while there, because everybody kind of copied their success with the Star Wars figures. Little story goes that George Lucas was shopping the idea of toys around for his stuff before the movie ever really took off. He was, excuse me, he knew that there was money to be made in merchandising the Star Wars stuff. And so he shopped it around, and I know that several companies turned him down until he found Kenner, which, if I'm not mistaken, Kenner had primarily been making like baby dolls and stuff like that before. But he even went to Mego, Marty Abrams' company, and they just weren't interested in the idea. And Mego figures were 8-inch figures. They're 8-inch, more articulated figures that have cloth clothing, which I have a few of them. And I love them. I love Mego figures, but I just think sometimes, what if the Star Wars figures had been like that during that time? It probably would have kept Mego afloat longer than they actually were, because after Star Wars, they kept trying. And another thing, too, is Kenner, and I don't know if it was a decision by Lucas or if a decision by Kenner, but the size of the figures, like the standard was like G.I. Joes were 12 inches tall, or close to 12 inches tall, and the Migos were like 8, so they were bigger figures at the time. But it was also in the late 70s, and so we had kind of an oil crisis, so plastic was getting more expensive. And so the toys shrunk down in size, maybe because of the oil crisis, but it also is probably because of the vehicles as well, because essential with all Star Wars figures are the cool vehicles that they ride. So all that is to say that the figure size shrunk down to 3 3/4 inch tall for a standard human figure. And I have very few of the original vintage Star Wars figures. I had them, most of them, when I was a kid, because it was the main toy line that I collected. And these are, at least in good condition, these are the only 4 that I really have right now. I don't try to collect the old stuff as much, because it's kind of some bittersweet memories about those, and how I don't have the originals in the first place. But that's a story for another time. But this was the standard at the time, from the late 70s into the 80s. Most of the toys you picked up were 5 point of articulation toys. Now, during one of the recessions that we had in the last few years, or, well, anyway, it was during a recession, and the price of toys went up, and so a lot of companies went back to more simple toys where they were doing 5 points of articulation. And they did this a couple of times, and I want to say they were like the mission packs or something like that. But anyway, these were closer to the old Star Wars figures. They weren't quite, they were a little bit, in a lot of ways they were sculpted more realistically than, oh, get this light over here. Had the light in the wrong place. They were sculpted a little bit more realistically than the old Kenner ones. And these were put out by Hasbro after Hasbro had acquired Kenner. But, you know, up until these came out, for years, from like the late 90s up until the early 2000s, the 5 points of articulation had gone away. And you had like elbows, wrists, some of them had universal joints in the shoulders and hips and knees and such. And those figures got more and more expensive to make because every point of articulation raises the price because of tooling and stuff like that, and also plastic costs. So they came out with these figures, and they were, this is one of my favorite Luke Skywalker figures. The hair is kind of unrealistically blonde, but it matches the look of the old Star Wars figures from Kenner, that they had the hair like just sort of this color, like just a straight up yellow blonde. And he's very slight. That's another thing too. The old Kenner figures were very small, and I liked them. I like this feel. And so when this figure came out, I hunted him down. Wound up buying him from a Chinese seller for way less than I would have paid for it in the States. But I really do like this figure. And the only real difference with articulation from the original Kenner, it has the same, you know, you have like a point here, you have 2 points here and 2 points here. So it has 5 points of articulation, no wrists or anything like that. But the main difference is there's a ball joint where the neck is. And so that's one thing. The more detailed sculpt, and the ball joint and neck really puts it apart from the old Kenner figures. A little bit more of a posed stance too. It was very rare that you got a Kenner figure with the arm bent, but that little bit of a bend there gives the toy a lot of personality. And they continued on, and we had some more 5 point of articulation figures. I don't remember what series these were, but this had the shoulders, the neck. Again, this one was a ball joint, but doesn't have a lot of range. But this added 2 points of articulation to the standard scheme, and you had wrists that turn. But that was it. So you could have Luke Skywalker, asking for some spare change, please. So very close to that are these figures, which I've reviewed before, one of the retro collection figures. And these are kind of like their version of Kenner-like figures. At this point, you will have seen the video, or if you haven't seen the video yet, of the Cad Bane figure from Book of Boba Fett. Very similar. Now, this is from Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, like it says on all of these, it's Star Wars Retro Collection inspired by 70s Star Wars figures and features original figure design and detailing. Continue your collection from the galaxy far, far away. And in this set, they had Obi-Wan Kenobi, Wandering Jedi, Darth Vader, the Dark Times, Ned B, which I actually really love that figure, Reva, the third sister, Grand Inquisitor, and the fifth brother. I keep wanting to call him like the third brother, but he's the fifth brother. Anyway, I had the original Darth Vader, and he didn't look like this exactly. This is kind of I guess this is their take of Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan thing. It's Darth Vader, the Dark Times. But one big difference between this Darth Vader and the one that Kenner made back in the 70s was that Darth Vader, the lightsaber didn't fit in, like he couldn't hold it in his hand, but the figure was made with his hand tilted forward and the lightsaber hilt made into his hand, and he had like a little lever underneath his arm that you would push it and the lightsaber would come out. A lot of people call it, erroneously call those, the regular ones, a telescoping lightsaber, but they weren't. that was just a retractable lightsaber. The very first few, like Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, all three of them had the lightsaber that went inside their arm. It came out, and then there was an extra little, like a plastic filament that came out, and it would make the lightsaber longer. But I think the tooling on it, or the cost of production, was one of the issues price-wise, because every penny counts with this stuff. And the other was the fact that they broke real easy, because the little tip that came out of the inside, I want to say it was like two little sliding pieces that went into the end of the lightsaber. They broke real easy, and so they discontinued them. And if you ever find a Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the tip of the lightsaber has a little plastic filament sticking out of it, and it actually moves, because the ones that came out regularly, they had the lightsaber, and then there was a little thing sticking out the end of it, but they were one piece of plastic. But if you ever find one and that thing moves, oh boy, start getting ready to sell that thing for some serious money. Those are worth a good bit. But I picked these up. You know, each one of these was $3. They're good and cheap. The retail price, now Ollie's will tell you the retail price was $9.99 on these, and I think that's probably about what they were. Sometimes you got to kind of know your prices with Ollie's, because they'll put a price on the sticker that's not accurate. So anyway, I'll open up this Darth Vader, and we'll see how he is out of the package. I've seen it before, and I don't know, it something about it doesn't quite look like Darth Vader. Oh, well, look at here, it just comes right off the card. The glue must be letting up on these. Anyway, let's see. There we go. Let's get him off that way. Now, here he is. Now, this one comes with the lightsaber you can hold, and one thing that's interesting about this is the way the cape is made for him is a lot different than the cape was for the original figures. The original figures, they had like a vinyl piece of plastic that was kind of shaped like an arch, and it had two holes in it, and the arms would go through the holes, and then it would fold over, so you had like a collar. This one actually has a fabric cape that is, it's not going to come off of the figure. It doesn't have a clasp or anything. It's like, and the head doesn't come off, so I don't think it does. So that cape is going to stay on there. But as far as the actual figure itself, the face is pretty good. It's a little strange for Darth Vader, but it still looks pretty good. I love the red eyes, which the original Darth Vader from Kenner, I don't think it had red eyes. I think they were just black, but the actual helmet in the first Star Wars movie had red lenses for the eyes. And but this one has a different body type than the original. I wish I had one of the original Darth Vaders to compare it to. But it's not bad. He's got the one thing that's different is the lower waist cloak on him is made as part of the figure. So his legs have that weird like 70s slacks looking look to it. But it's kind of cool. I don't hate it. I think it'll look good on the shelf with my other retro figures. And what did I do with his lightsaber? I just had it. Hold on. Oh, here it is. So his lightsaber it looks like the lightsabers that came with the Bespin Luke and any of the figures that had lightsabers after. I don't know if there were many that had, let's see, there was Bespin Luke. I don't think Anakin didn't have a lightsaber. You know, the spirit, or like the after at the end of Return of the Jedi, Anakin figure. I don't think he had a lightsaber, so maybe it was just Luke. Was there? The Bespin one, yeah, the Bespin one had one. Oh, and the Return of the Jedi Luke had one. Okay, so but that's kind of what they look like. It's just a let's see, a flat piece of plastic with a little button sculpted into it, and it's all cast in one color. So let's see how he holds it. Now, these newer retro figures are not all that good at holding the weapons. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. So let's see. He holds it pretty well. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks like something that maybe, you know, if Kenner had redone their Darth Vader back in the day in another part of, like, down the line, like they kept reissuing the same figure of Darth Vader through each movie. So let's see. I'm not real crazy about how far down the cape hooks, because Darth Vader tended to wear it off of his shoulders, and I'm trying to, it's just kind of, it's going to do what it's going to do. It's sewn so low down. But yeah, if they had made a different Darth Vader for like Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, I feel like this fits as something they probably would have done, because more and more they relied on that, you know, like the cape as part of the leg, like the Emperor figure and the Anakin figure, and then like the dignitaries and all that. Any of them that had a waist cloak or a cape that went down, or like robes, they made it part of the leg going on like that. So they probably, if they had done a Darth Vader, they would have done that. The cape, I don't know. Maybe so, because by that point they were using fabric for the clothing and all. I think that was something that changed around the time of Empire Strikes Back. Because I know Yoda had a little cloth cloak. I'm trying to remember, Ugnaughts had cloth stuff. I'm trying to remember if anybody else had cloth stuff. The Bespin Princess Leia had a vinyl cape. Did Lando have? I think Lando had a vinyl cape too. But there were a few of them that had fabric. But then by the time of Return of the Jedi, several of the figures in there, if I remember correctly, had fabric. I know that the Emperor's Royal Guards, the Red Guards, they had fabric. And it was kind of like this, where you had a fabric piece that was underneath the neck. So the fabric piece was put on the figure first, and then the neck was glued in place. This one actually has articulation. His head goes all the way around. And, you know, while we're talking about articulation, such as it is, the arms go all the way around. You know, both of them do. The legs can kick forward, or he can sit down. Yeah, so it's not a bad figure. I'm not real crazy about the way the cape is attached to it. But other than that, and like I said, it probably, you know, by the point of Return of the Jedi, if they had made a new Darth Vader, it probably would have looked just like this, in all fairness. So, see how he looks with, I didn't really compare him to anybody, see if he was taller. Oh, yeah, he's much taller. He might be taller than the original Darth Vader. That's why I wish I had one to kind of compare it to. But, yeah, he looks really good. I mean, he fits in really well with the actual vintage figures. Yeah, that's really cool. Let's see how he looks with another one of the retro figures. We've seen Darth Vader with Boba Fett, so just not that Boba Fett, but still, that's really cool. I have a vintage Boba Fett, but I didn't bring him out to look at it. I probably should have. Okay, I lied. I have another vintage figure. It's Boba Fett. Of course I'd have a Boba Fett. Boba Fett. Boba Fett. But yeah, really cool. I like this Darth Vader. I thought I was going to hate it, but I like it. Considering it would have probably looked like this if it had been made at the time of Return of the Jedi. So it's a neat little speculative figure, I'd call it. Okay, so that was nice. All right, let's take a look at this. Now, this is part of the, what do they call these? Is it Star Wars Epic? They don't have the thing on the pack. Oh, here it is. Epic Hero Series. And I've been seeing these a lot, and they're like $10, and they're okay. I got one of the Stormtroopers because I collect Stormtroopers, and he's real beefy and bulky, and I don't know, I just got him because he's a Stormtrooper. But the Luke looks pretty good. You can compare him, in the package with this Luke. He's a little bit beefier, but very similar. And this, of course, would be Luke as a Jedi Master. This is from Book of Boba Fett, where he's training Grogu. And, of course, I had to pick up Grogu because that's another figure I've got tons of is Grogu. I can't resist a Grogu figure. He's like the cutest thing that ever happened to Star Wars, and I love it. I love every minute of it. But let's take a look at this Luke Skywalker. I don't care about saving the... Oh, here we go. We got something to read here. Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker rose from humble beginnings to become one of the greatest Jedi the galaxy has ever known. Dang right about that. Thank you, Dave Filoni, and was it Robert Rodriguez that did Book of Boba Fett? But I think that was Favreau and Filoni's part of it with the Mandalorian. I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. Whoever made it. Thank you guys for bringing Luke back after somebody else tried to destroy his character. Thank you for bringing the actual Luke Skywalker back so we can forget about lightsaber tossing Luke Skywalker. Okay, let's see. Nice. It's a nice... Oh, he's got a hole in his back. I think all of these figures have holes in their back. Maybe not Grogu, but if I remember correctly, I think the Stormtrooper had a hole in his back too. But I'd have to get him out and look at him. I don't have him right close to hand. Let's see. Yeah, they don't have any. So it's literally 5 points now. Is it a ball? Yeah, it's a ball joint at the neck. Just regular cut joints at the shoulders. The legs kick forward. They don't really go back much. This has always been my favorite iteration of Luke Skywalker. Him in the black Jedi outfit. There's an old Marvel Star Wars comic book that came out before Return of the Jedi. I think it came out before Empire Strikes Back, if I'm not mistaken. Carmine Infantino did the artwork in it. And Obi-Wan Kenobi was wearing a Jedi outfit that was very similar to the way Luke's Jedi outfit looked like in Return of the Jedi and here. And I just thought it was really funny, like you see Obi-Wan Kenobi wearing an outfit that looks like what Luke wore in Return of the Jedi, but the comic book was done well before Return of the Jedi ever came out. And when Lucas did the prequels, the Jedis wore robes and everything like that, and outfits that weren't quite as form-fitting as this. But I always like this, and I always prefer this Jedi outfit over the ones in Episode 1 and all. Episode 1 and 2 and 3, the prequels. But anyway, this is Luke Skywalker. This is the Jedi Academy Luke Skywalker training Grogu. I don't think he has... Yeah, he doesn't have a waist. Let's see how he holds his sword. Looks really nice. His lightsaber looks like the one that he had in Return of the Jedi, the one that he built, styled after Obi-Wan Kenobi's. Kinda. Let's see. Yeah, he holds it pretty well. Yep. And he comes with the backpack, so he can carry Grogu around. And let's see. It's kind of hard to do when I'm looking at it through the camera. So let me. Now, it's got a... Okay. I'll get it one of these days. All right, there, it's on. There you go. Kind of reminds me of they had a little backpack. I want to say it came with the Dagobah playset that went with the. You could use it for the Bespin Luke when he was training with Yoda, and Yoda was sitting in a little pack. I kind of wonder if Yoda's. Nah, Yoda's a little too big to fit in the backpack. I mean, you could kind of have him hanging out like this. That's cute. But no, it's made specifically, I think, in this case for Grogu, and that's fine. Let's see. Let's take a look at Grogu, and then we'll have them interact with each other. Oh, let me take a look at this. This is the Grogu, the artwork. Did I show? You can't really see the artwork on the Luke Skywalker one because it's got a price tag, but I might can get that off. You know, in my attempt to record everything that goes on. That's close enough. Yeah, I mean it's Mark Hamill-ish. Good enough, I guess. I don't care about these packages because they're okay. Let's see. But Grogu, you can see him, and that's a really good little drawing of Grogu. I'm sure it's digitally traced or whatever. Maybe not. I don't want to cast any aspersions. Let's see. Grogu has chosen to follow the path of his protector, the Mandalorian, and continues to share adventures at his side. It's got a little instruction about how to put his pram together. And this is the second pram that he had, because the first pram, I'm trying to remember now what happened to it. I think it got swallowed up by a sea creature or something like that. And he wound up having to have another one. I can't remember exactly where the second one came from, but I do remember he has a different one in the season, the last season of The Mandalorian. All right, set that aside, and let's take a look at Grogu himself. Cool. Like most of the Grogus that have been coming out. Should have seen if I could. Well, I've got this retro collection Grogu, and you can see they both have the little footsies sculpted in. I guess you can see it. You see it? You can see it now. But yeah, he's got 2 points. No, he's got 3 points of articulation. He's got the little shoulders that move, and he's got the neck, which the neck, like a lot of the Grogus that I've seen, the neck is it's like a little ball down in there, and so you get a good little range of movement. And he is really stinking cute. That's cool. You see the difference in the style of the sculpt. The retro collection Grogu is more like what Kenner would have done, where they made the face more like an actual like human child, and the eyes are just dark. You know, they don't have like the whites of the eyes or anything like that, which you can't really see that on Grogu anyway, but they kind of did him a little bit cartoony here, and it's cute. His features are more like the Grogu in the show. The insides of the ears are painted, and he's a little bit... Is this one rubbery? Not really. And it's not painted, which that would have been the way they would have done it. You know, Kenner would have done it back in the day. But you can see the Grogu in the Epic Hero line is more, is closer to what you get from the actual show design. And let's see, he comes with, it's like a stand and the pram, and you put the pram together. Let's see. Oh, it's got 2 parts, so you can actually close the thing up. Let's see if there's a certain way. Okay, the back of the pram. The back of it? No, that's the front of it. All right, so this is the front and this is the back, and it has a little trying to remember if the... Oh, okay. These parts go up. So it fits in like this. Okay. So that's together, and then that part closes up. And Grogu can sit inside, and you can actually close it up with him in it, which is nice. A lot of the prams, you can't close it with him in it. The pram that comes with the retro Grogu, it doesn't close at all. I don't think it even came with another piece that was like closed, so it just kind of is like an accessory like that. This one, it's almost like having a figure with a little vehicle, because this is the one that Grogu was flying around and he could control it himself, with the little buttons and all, and that's nice. They got some little detailed buttons in there. You can see those. That's really cute. Because he would press that thing, woof, close himself up. And it's got a peg hole in the bottom, and it comes with a stand. And so you don't have to worry about that, because it can stand on its own, like this one. Pretty cool. So the final thing about this little Grogu is we can see how well he fits in Luke's backpack. And he seems to fit pretty well. That is adorable. Me looking this way. Oh, Luke's looking this way. And, you know, for the kiddies out there, yeah, no, this video is not made specifically for children, but if a child is happening to watch it, you know, Grogu was with Luke for 2 years, so you can actually pretend adventures during those 2 years that Grogu was with Luke. So there you go. You got a play pattern. But no, I like that a lot. Is it real back heavy? Yeah, it's a little back heavy. Well, that and my table is at a slope, so, but that's pretty good. He stands pretty well with Grogu on his back. So yeah, I'm very happy with these two. I don't think I would have paid the full price for them, because that's $20 right there with the Luke. With Grogu is basically an accessory. I mean, the size he is and everything. They always have to put him with the pram to justify the prices for him. But that would have been $20 worth of toy right here. And that to me is just not $20 worth of toys. 10, I could handle, you know, like if they had made this a set for 10 would have been great. But getting them for $3 each, $6 for this little set, it's very nice. So check your Walmarts. That's where most of these things. I don't know if these were Walmart exclusive figures or not. I don't remember seeing them at like Target and stuff like that, but wherever, keep an eye out, because they're putting a lot of these on clearance because they did not sell really well. Everywhere I go, about the only one that I've ever seen that's missing is Darth Vader. They had a Mandalorian. They have the all right, they got Ahsoka Tano. They might have Bo-Katan. I can't remember. I know that they have deluxe sets that have Sabine Wren and Paz Vizsla. And those cost a little bit more. But now they're on clearance. So they're like, it's like $6 for those in some places. And, you know, I might pick up the Mandalorians just to have, if they drop the price on them a good bit. But yeah, these for $3 ain't so bad. I would recommend this little set at least. The Stormtrooper's kind of but I would also recommend, you know, hitting up Ollie's and see if you can find this Darth Vader, because he's pretty cool. I like him a lot. Guess I can turn the cape to this side. It just doesn't look right. Whatever. Like I said, it probably was how it would have been done then. So yeah, it's a good pickup with these. Bend them a little bit. With these three figures, I'm really happy. That's $9 right there, and basically that's less than the price that one of these things would have cost at retail. So yeah. Anyway, it's been Monster Forge. Hit like if you liked the video. Hit thumb down if you didn't like the video. And hit the subscribe button, and you'll know whenever I put new videos up. If you hit the alarm button or the bell button. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Monster Forge out.